going on, guys? It's Dan, and this is your daily prep. Guys, today I'm out in my yard because I want to show you my apple tree. I just recently pruned this guy, and I wanted to, probably should have turned the camera on as I was doing it. I didn't think about it, and I was monkeying around up in the tree, so it would have been tough anyway. But I wanted to give you guys a quick few little tips on pruning your fruit trees, fruit and nut trees. It's a little bit late in the season, so for 2014, I'm assuming that most of you guys have already done this or missed the opportunity. If you live in really cold climates, this might still help you out, or for the years to come, you can certainly refer to this. So basically, the overarching principle, guys, with pruning a fruit tree like this is you want to prune for shape, health, and basically overall structure, as opposed to just how much fruit you're going to get this year. That means when it comes time to cut off a branch that has a lot of potential as far as like fruiting this year, but it's not a good branch, you need to do that. So basically, the way that you do prune your trees for shape, health, and structure is first and foremost you get rid of dead stuff. So let me show you over here. I actually lopped off a pretty good size trunk limb. You can say, here's my clean cut right up here, right up top. This whole thing extended up about 4 or 5 feet and was dead. So I took it all off. You can see it's down here in a couple pieces. And the reason that you want to do that is to free up sunlight, allow the live parts of your tree to get the sunlight that they need, and not be encumbered by that dead stuff. The second thing you want to do is trim off any branches that are hanging downward. So anything that's pointing downward, let me see if I can zoom in here. I can't really without losing the light, but I had a few of those limbs that kind of come out and then they grow down. You want to trim those off so that everything is going straight up. The reason for that is because those downward growing branches are just never going to be strong enough to support the weight of fruit or other limb structure, other wood. So you want to get rid of those. Third thing that you want to do is you want to look for waterspouts. Those are tiny little first-year growths that are growing straight vertical out of like a big, well-established limb, like a 6 to 8 inch limb that's been there for a long time. You don't want just the random sporadic waterspouts coming out of those. It just takes energy away, and it's not really where you're trying to grow fruit or limb structure anyway. So get rid of those. I would say, what else? I'd say the fourth thing, basically, if I can just kind of point you back to my tree here, is you want to trim for conflict. And what I mean when I say that is if there's branches that are rubbing on top of each other, if there's anything like that, that's just gonna promote disease with stuff touching. It's gonna block sunlight once they all start putting out leaves. And you kind of need to go through, after you've gotten rid of the dead stuff, you've gotten rid of the downward pointing branches, the water spouts, all that, you need to prune for direction, essentially. So like if there's a conflict between a branch that's coming off this big limb and this big limb, you really want to just think about each of your big limbs in terms of like a direction. Like the purpose of this limb right here is to go that way. The purpose of this limb right here is to go that way. So, and so on. I could go around the tree here. So if I have a situation where there's a limb coming from this big, like a little branch coming from this big limb, going over here, and now it's like rubbing up against one of the things that's coming off here, then this is the limb that has to go because it's deviating from the direction that I want it to go. So you really want to just think about your main limbs like that as directional. Like essentially everything that off that limb needs to kind of go that way. Everything off of this limb needs to kind of go that way. And that'll just ensure, guys, that you don't ever get a lot of overlapping. Because you're not going to have like big limbs growing right next to each other. It's going to be spread out. Those are essentially the quick and dirty pointers there, guys. The other things I would say is when you are making a cut, you want to cut right above the last limb that you want to keep. So if there's a big old section of limb that you want to get rid of, just follow it all the way down until the last thing that you want to keep. Either because my little girl's laughing over here. Cute little penny. So yeah, so if you're trimming for dead wood or you're trimming for conflict or direction or whatever, just follow that limb all the way back to the last thing you want to keep and then just cut right above that. That way the tree will be able to put all its energy into the remaining angle that you have there on the limb. Be safe when you do it, guys. I'm a total monkey, and I was climbing around up in here and stuff, and there were still things that were probably not that safe for me. I still had a couple close shakes, so I busted out the ladder and, gloves and all that, eyewear. Don't, the goal is to not get hurt, right? Guys, learning to manage your trees and to really manage your earth, quote unquote, is a big part of being self-sufficient. It's a big part of being a prepper. You need to understand how to maximize the resources that you have, and pruning is one great way to do that. It's a good way to ensure that you're going to get quality fruit and make sure that your tree is healthy for a long, long time. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Dan, and this has been your Daily Prep.